Good evening. It's another loss from the Toronto Raptors. Pretty sad performance, and there's been a lot of rumors going around, swirling around today, trades and all that. So I don't usually like to get into that stuff. I kind of avoid it actually, but it's so pertinent, especially after a game like this, where it's like we got to get into all of that. This man needs help, like more than Draymond. There's this league wide push for Draymond to get the help that he needs, and I think we need that same push for Scottie to get the help that he needs. Really kind of a no-show, at least offensively, from Siakam, from OG, from the bench in general. Uh, Definitely a winnable game. They were within 10 pretty much the whole game, and then it just kind of slipped in the fourth. But you never really felt like they were going to do anything. And you got like Scottie Barnes going up to Chris Boucher, who you're not allowed to talk about, or else you have to apologize on his podcast. But by the way, he doesn't care what you think about him, but you still have to go apologize. Just it's a paperwork HR thing. RIP Yahoo Sports Canada, by the way. But you got like Scottie, like trying to put his energy. That's the thumbnail of this video. Is he's trying to like implant his energy into Chris Boucher, and all respect to Chris Boucher and his family and everything. Oregon Duck, the Bloc Quebecois, the Trebuchet, but like he does not have the people around him to like succeed. And beirness said something just gave me brain cancer, and I like was thinking about it during the game. She said it pregame where I said before about how she's a South Park character. I think she just says words to kind of fill the atmosphere. But in the pregame, Keegan Murray was saying like, because Kate was like, "Oh, great game from like Jordan Peterson, whatever." She doesn't talk like that in real life, by the way. I've seen her. I researched this. I've seen her in like other videos where she just talks normally. That's the thing she does for television. It's 84 years out of date, but cool. But Keegan Murray was saying like, well, Kate was like, "Oh, it's great that Pascal and Pascal had this great game and Scottie had this great game against Atlanta last time. So it's beautiful, it's amazing, things are great in Raptor land." And then Keegan Murray is like, "Yeah, well, like we need to see this consistently. Like we see these games once in a while, but it needs to be consistent." And then Leo's like, "Yeah, we have 2 years now of this, like of this data and this information." And then I don't know, beirness just out of nowhere is just like, "Well, yeah, so we need to see the next couple games." Who, by the way, Hawks twice and Charlotte Hornets. Hawks, I think 28th ranked offense, and the Charlotte Hornets. And Kate says, we need these games. If we have a few more of these games over the next little bit, maybe we keep this core together. Like that's what she's saying. And again, I know she's just farting out words, but like it was such an insane thing to say. If you like actually, you got some kids having a snowball fight here, very Christmassy, but yeah, like if you actually like boil down what she's actually saying, the substance of it, it's like bonkers. But so I do want to get into some of those trade rumors that we saw today and then before. Again, I usually avoid these, but it's probably not even rumors at this point. Like it's pretty clear. At least you would hope that they're gonna do something. You would. I think it's kind of Kate on an island on that one, to be honest. Even Leo and Kia were like, "Yeah, like we have 2 years of this data. I don't know how 2 games against the Hawks and the Hornets." Like even Darko saying the starting lineup, we need to evaluate the starting line. Which, by the way, Darko made a bunch of kind of more random substitutions. Like Malachi was the first guy in for Dennis at 6:37 of the first quarter. It wasn't the automatic Scottie and then the hockey line shift. So he was experimenting a little bit, fucking around a little bit. He was not happy in this game. Darko was not happy. Darko did not enjoy this game. Did the video on Darko, not impressed with Precious's weak screens, and yeah, he had his lot of saw a lot of Darko's palms in this game. So yeah, he's not happy, and the vibe of the team was just like really weak, except for Scottie, obviously, and he's trying to like carry this whole thing in the second half, which he like almost kind of did. They had a bit of momentum down the stretch, but we've just seen this over and over and over again now, and it's just kind of like boring to talk about in a way because it's so repetitive. It's like it's so predictable. They're gonna get down, and then Scottie's gonna do like really well. I think he had like 23, 8, and 4 in the game, and I think he was more impactful than that really showed. But yeah, this team is absolutely not it. So after my brief little notes here on the game, I think we'll get into some of the Keegan Murray, Buddy Hield, Obi Toppin discussions, because yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can be seriously have Kate's position other than just filling up the airwaves with something. You gotta have something, right? There has to be some sound emanating from you, so you may as well do that. Also, I don't want to get it. Maybe later I'll get into that. That'll be later, way later for the banter aspect of it. Talking some sports media stuff. But yeah, so Darko was experimenting with the lineups. I've been kind of wondering like why he hasn't been. So that's been good to see. But I thought like they just did not have an answer for Trae, and I thought that's where it kind of fucked up. Like they didn't really ever send two, and Dennis was playing drop coverage against Trae for a bunch of it. I wrote down one note, like this might be even a video worthy. 8:39 of the fourth quarter, Dennis goes so far under the screen. It was a Kongwu screen. It's like how you would guard like Jakob if he was out there, and Trae just like wide open, can see the rim, swishes it. Him and Bogdanovic were cooking, and the perimeter, Malachi's defense was putrid tonight. He had 4 fouls, got 4 fouls really quick, and just not able at all to make rotations around the perimeter. It's just so not it. Like just so not it. Will put out a stat just now about like the guards versus guards, and the Hawks, you know, the Hawks guards outscored the Raptor guards by like 300 points or something. Like it's just it's disgusting. It's so not it. And yeah, the Hawks have a good offense, but today so many of those shots were like pretty. I mean, a lot of those Trae threes are just wide open. They weren't. I don't know, like they weren't treating him. OG's defense has fallen off a cliff in the last 48 hours or 72 hours. I don't know if it's an injury or something, but he was a minus 15 at the half. He played horrible defense in the first half against the Hawks last game, and then this game again. The Raptors defense in general was pretty weak in this game, but yeah, the guards were just able to. I thought Jakob played good defense actually. I want to give a shout out to him. I thought around the rim he was a good like deterrent, but the perimeter defense was disgusting in this game. Like Trae just, you can't like. That's kind of the one way. That's really, if you think about it, like the only way the Hawks are gonna like beat you pretty much. Like it's. I mean, what else are they gonna? What is like a Kongwu gonna go and crazy or something? It's the team playing well, which they kind of did, and then Trae having like a really good night. That's kind of the, you know, that's. I mean, they traded Luka for this guy, right? So, it's pretty talented, and that's. It almost felt like they were disrespecting him, I guess, in a way, because a lot of his looks were just open. A lot of Bogdanovic's looks were open. And it was just like Raptor players making weird decisions on screens, like, and a lot of these, like that one with Dennis and Okongwu, like it wasn't even like an amazing screen or anything. Like Dennis could have easily gone over it and been more glued to Trae, but he went like so far under it. He was like in the paint, and Trae's like, you know, 2 steps behind the 3-point line, and just I like his shot actually. I know a lot of people don't, but I like the low release. He can get it off really quick. And it's easier to shoot from deep and you shoot it low like that. It's just mechanically, trajectory wise, arc wise. So I enjoy that aspect of it. And then on offense, you know, Dennis, really rough night. Jakob had a good night, but Pascal, what did he have, like 8 shots or something? And this is a team that Pascal usually kind of kills, and a couple 3 balls went in, but yeah. Gary, you know, hit a couple shots, but in general, it's just so not there. Watched Norman Powell play basketball last night. Tough. You got Steve Ballmer losing his fucking mind. Good for him. Good for Norm. It's obviously turning into what looks like a pretty good situation for him. But yeah, like you watch. I mean, they have different games, obviously, different players. But you watch like Norm's athleticism and players that Scottie would be, good to be paired with, and it's like, obviously their ages are different, but does that really matter that much? I don't think. I mean, that's totally hindsight, but we'll start to get into the rumors. But yeah, it was tough watching that last night. And then, you watch Gary on these floaters and runners or whatever they are. And it's just it doesn't have that oomph, I thought Precious had a couple really nice post moves in this game. Like, he had some really nice footwork. And I haven't seen that a ton from him this season. I think he had like 3 tonight. He didn't have a great game overall, I don't think, but there were a few plays down low where he was really able to get like a clean open look that he made because of his like footwork, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of scraping for things here. Also, what do you guys think? Put your thoughts in the chat. What do you guys think about the trade rumors? What do you think about Kate's, optimism about using the Hawks and the Hornets as a litmus test, overriding the 2 years of data we have, and using specifically the Hawks and the Hornets as a litmus test as to long-term decisions for the franchise? That's Kate's, what she would do. Pre-game show, we learned that. Was almost the title thumbnail for the video. We did have Precious smoking the backboard on a 3, and then he lost the ball. That was in the second quarter. Yeah, OG minus 15 in the first half. Trae and Murray combined for 12 assists. And really what kept the Raptors in this game was the Hawks' awful transition defense. I think most of Pascal's points came that way. Scottie kind of got going that way as well. And yeah, if the Hawks played any transition defense, they would be, with this offense that they have, would be like a pretty dangerous team. That was really what kind of kept the Raptors going. Yeah, rough game from Malachi. There was some Malachi Scottie PNR where he just like wasn't passing to Scottie, which was weird. The 3 looks good. I wrote Malachi's 3 looks nicer than Gary's now, which is kind of funny. Also, what did the Raptors shoot from the free throw line? Again, that's another story. But the free throw line thing to me is just like, that's like a downstream effect of not prioritizing shooting. And then, you draft Grady, and who has currently the 143 highest 3-point percentage in the G League right now, more turnovers and assists, and also shooting 32 from the field. Like the field, like the field. 32 from the field in the G League. The field. So, yeah, Malachi and Dennis both sagging off Trae cooking in the third, Darko mad, blah, blah, blah. Scottie needs help, Precious good footwork. Dennis drop coverage against Trae, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, trade rumors. So, I feel like I've heard the Keegan Murray one before. I don't know if this was... By the way, that's how little I cared about this game, because it just, 13 minutes. You got 13 minutes of game notes. I mean, still check the chat. What do you guys... I guess before I go on to the trade, do people... the Raptors end up losing by, 21 points, 104, 125. And it's not interesting to me because it's like, I've seen this so many times already this year. Like, I feel like I've saw this exact game. The game notes. Like, it seems like a bad dream at this point. Got some Aaron Baines jokes in the chat. Are you smoking duck? Oh, somebody else. Sometimes I think people are making fun of me in the chat, but then it's like somebody else in the chat. I'm just looking here last second. If there's anything else from this game I want to chew at, and then we'll get right into the trade rumors and stuff. Pascal and OG played as if they're waiting for a trade. Someone said that. which is funny because Pascal played crazy well against the Hawks last game. I guess quickly, what did Pascal and OG? What did they do tonight before we move on to the trade rumors? Let's give them a little love here. Pascal 5 for 11, OG 3 for 8, 15 points and 7 points, -9 and -19. You got 2 rebounds for OG, and yeah, not amazing. Dennis Schroeder 6 points in 31 minutes, -20, 3 for 7. Even McDaniels, when he comes in garbage time, which I didn't watch, went 0 for 3, so that's kind of perfect. But yeah, again, I gave Jakob a little love off the top. 7 for 7, 15 points, 8 rebounds. I think the Raptors had 3 offensive rebounds tonight. Jakob had 2 of them. So OG and Pascal combined for 0 offensive rebounds as your 3 and your 4. My high school coach would be screaming at us if that happened, but this is the NBA, so I guess that doesn't really matter. I think that's it. I think, yeah, Scottie needs help more than Draymond. So we got the Keegan Murray thing. So so I don't think it's a horrible idea. This is the Pascal for Keegan Murray and draft compensation. The thing I don't understand about this trade, though, is I don't know how they do the salary matching, because the only like kind of heavier contract that the Kings have is Harrison Barnes at $18 million a year, and that's not gonna do it. They'd have to throw in somebody else, and then obviously you would trade Harrison Barnes, or probably you would trade Harrison Barnes to like a contender, maybe get some draft capital. He would be a good piece. He's like kind of I'd say he's a proven playoff player, but he definitely has value, especially at 18 mil. That's a good contract. And then of course, Pascal plays the 4, so that makes sense for them as well. The thing with Keegan Murray is like he's also a 4, which depending on how you envision Scottie playing, I think one of the reasons why Pascal and Scottie like don't have that great of chemistry is they shoot from a lot of the same spots on the floor. With Keegan though, like he shot 40% from 3 last year, and that's dropped down to 31 this year, which is kind of alarming. But then all of his other like shooting stats are way up. Like his free throw percentage is up. All like 0 to 3 feet is up. 3 to 10 feet is up. 10 feet to 16 is like everything. All his shooting across the board is up except the 3 ball is down. So it's like, I mean, it's kind of concerning, but it's still a 20-game sample. I don't know if it's that big of a deal. The couple things with him is his assist rate is the same as Gary Trent Jr. So you're getting that assist rate. So, and this is on a team, the Kings, they get a lot of fucking buckets. Sacramento Kings. This is not the Toronto Raptors getting 106. The Kings are putting up 280 points a game. And so for him, I think he averages like 1.7 assists a game. That's a red flag, to be honest. I mean, no player is perfect. You're gonna find holes in every player, but that's a red flag for me. I don't know speed wise. Like I think with Scottie, you want someone in transition who's gonna be able to run, who's gonna be able to capitalize. I mean, obviously the transition threes, if he can get there in time. I'm not saying he's like super slow, but I know he's not really like known for his speed. So those are kind of the couple things that you would worry about. Just reading along, like kind of around the internet, Kings people really seem to not like this idea. They kind of want Larry Markkinen, who is now apparently touchable. So you're allowed to touch him now, apparently. I love some of the language with the rumors is really funny. There's an incredible tweet Jake Fisher put out last year that I kind of repurposed today, where he says, "Don't get mad at me, Raptors fans. I don't write the headlines." So I benefit from all of the talk, and that's great, but don't hang me for the headline. It's a bit of like, you can't have, I don't know, but that is true in a lot of these big publications. Like I wrote a couple things for Vice and they butchered my headline to the point where I don't even like, it's not even on my resume. I don't show people it because it's just like, it's so cringe. But so that was kind of the report for Keegan Murray. Again, the salary matching is kind of weird. And then obviously now there's the whole other conversation about the extension with Pascal, which I guess everybody seems like nobody was talking about this like 2 days ago, but now there's this whole December 30th date thing that I need to look into a little bit more. I don't know where that came from or whatever, but there's some benefit or whatever if it gets done with the CBA before the 30th. So maybe that's something closer or sooner rather than later. So I don't like, because you're making, you would hope you're making this trade for people that fit with Scottie. And while I don't think it's kind of like OG. Like OG's a good fit with Scottie, but I don't know if it's like an ideal. Like it's not, I don't know if it's what you would mastermind plan for. Again, you're someone who doesn't really have that great of speed. It's not really going to benefit as much in transition. And who I've heard the last couple of days, I've heard people say that OG is a good passer. I don't really think that. And I think a lot of the times when he does pass, he's not passing it to people's shot pockets. Like if you notice Scottie, like when he passes to somebody, it's like in your shot pocket. OG will, a lot of the times will pass it and you got to reach down to grab it. You got to, but his shot is obviously there. The Atlanta rumors with Pascal, again, I don't really see how that's ideal. Like DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and Kobe Buffkin, who's still kind of haven't seen enough of. I don't think you can. I mean, the Raptors worked him out, but I don't think you can really put too much kind of it's kind of hard to evaluate that one. I think he's played like two NBA games. But that trade I don't think was really moving anybody, and I don't really see a realistic package that the Hawks, like, they're not going to trade Jalen Johnson. He's like, I mean, he didn't play tonight or the other game, but I actually watched all of his offensive possessions maybe a week ago, and was like, so I don't, admittedly don't watch a ton of Hawks games, but I was like, damn, he looks incredible. If the shot is real, that's like the exact type of player. Again, he kind of plays the four though, but the Indiana one is probably the most interesting. Although, so I had some thoughts about like the version of it that got put out today, which was it would be centered around Obi Toppin, Buddy Hield, and draft compensation. So the thing for me I think you can make the argument that Buddy Hield would be like the ideal type of player to put with Scottie. He's someone who can run in transition, who's going to be there for transition threes. Obviously, he's like arguably the best kind of high volume 3-point shooter, or at least in the top, he's right, like in the higher echelon of high volume. Like I think he shoots like 7 or 8 threes a game, or even, I think even more than that. Like it's the three ball for him is not anything that's like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Like it would address so much. Buddy Hield is basically like what you would have dreamed Gary Trent Jr. would have become, who like didn't even touch, not even playing the same. They're not even playing the same sport. And in my head, I can just see like he works so well with Halliburton, and Scottie and Halliburton kind of in a way have a similar-ish game, and you can just totally see that duo really working well together. I don't know what his assist rate is. I don't really know if that would be that important, because he's able to, like no player's perfect, and I think he fits. I'm not saying he's a better player than Keegan Murray, but I think scheme wise, like he would fit with Scottie, which if you're making these moves, that's ideally like your number one thing. And I'm kind of, I don't know, I feel like I have a weird opinion on Ben Mathurin. I'll admit I haven't watched enough Pacer games, but like I don't get it. I just see a lot of really inefficient shooting. He seems to go like he seems to have like Donovan, like the off nights Donovan Mitchell has frequently, where he'll be like 4 for 13 or like 2 for 15 or something. Like I feel like every time I watch the Pacers, that's Mathurin. And even in this offense that's very free flowing, very open. I think they shoot earliest in the shot clock, faster than anybody. It's almost like it's like a freestyle. It's like a cipher. Dating myself with that word, but it's like a cipher. People know what that is. And even in a very like welcoming environment where everybody's like kind of kumbaya about bombing threes and shooting, even in that environment, it feels like kind of like record scratch or nails on the chalkboard, where it's like, oh, you're taking that shot with 18 seconds on the shot clock, like a super contested, like pull up where you got to do like a Sean Livingston type, stall in the air, and like that was okay. And then on defense, just completely lost, which you're gonna get with Buddy Hield as well. But again, no player is perfect. The Obi Toppin fit, I don't know. Like the three looks better. I think you still, I don't know. Not that you need more time to evaluate, but you just haven't seen like he barely played in New York. Haven't really seen that much of him yet. But he feels more like the player the Raptors don't need. Like another, what is he, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". I mean, the three does look better, but I think if you're moving on from the Vision 6'9" thing, but he wouldn't be. I mean, ideally you would get Nembhard in a deal from Indiana. I know Matherin has the upside, but I think, you would, if you're the Raptors, I don't know who they would go for more, but I don't think that deal, like, while I think Buddy Hield is a really good fit with Scottie, I'm not sure you would have that as your like centerpiece around a trade of that magnitude where it's OG and Pascal, unless the draft compensation. But then again, you got to do the salary matching thing. I mean, Bruce Brown makes a ton of money, but I don't know who they would kind of throw in, maybe third team or whatever. But yeah, you're gonna start hearing, I think, more and more of these like rumors, and I think at this point it's probably safe to say that they're more than rumors. I think it's kind of Cape Beirness on an island, to be honest. Maybe some people on Twitter, but I don't think very many people are thinking, hey, if they beat the Hawks and the Hornets, hell yeah, let's go, baby. Double down, extend everybody, keep everybody long term. We got 2 W's against the Hawks and the Hornets, so that was wild. I need to go back and rewatch that. Again, if you missed that off the top, it's Key and Nurse talking about, or Kate opening the segment with just an incredible game from Scottie and Pascal. Amazing. Just everything is great in Raptor land. And then Key is like, yeah, but we need to see this more consistently. It's good that they did this, but she, brought it down to a more real level. And then Leo's like, yeah, and we have 2 years of this data where they have these games and then they come and, whatever, and it's not consistent or reliable. And then Kate's like, yeah, maybe if they, I think all we need to see is the next couple games here, which Hawks and Hornets, and, maybe they can do good in these couple games. You keep the core together and you build. It's like, again, I know you're just filling the air with sound. That's your job. Shouts to the hosts, the Brad Fays and the Cape Beirnesses and the Bally Sports guys, and bringing you in and out of commercial. The whole Mark Jackson thing of bringing you in and out of commercial. I mean, where would we be without that? What if, just imagine where that was actually, that place was taken up by like a third analyst or something. Just imagine how horrible that would be if they had to be, hi, welcome to the show. I'm whoever. This is whatever. The Raptors play basketball today. Here we go. Like, how horrifying would that be if that third person was like a basketball analyst? So what do you guys think in the chat about the trade rumors? What are you guys thinking about Nembhard shooting 24% from 3? Yikes. Gurpatov, man, Bally Sports is bankrupt. Yep. Talked about that in my last video. The OGs finally takes a shot video. And yeah, they're not only bankrupt, but they're in bankruptcy court. And it's funny because they're a Fox subsidiary. So even Fox was like, this is too shitty for us to put the money up to keep this going, because it's literally just like a bit. Doesn't feel real to me. It's basically like a parody of a local news broadcast from 2005. And let's just say TSN and Sportsnet likes to mimic that as well in a lot of their shit. Heard there will be lots of trade rumors soon. There already is. In Masai we thrust. Haven't heard that one before. Matherin looks lost a lot of the time. Yes, I agree. A cipher is when you suck gas through a hose. Pale Fox. Premium tastes pretty good. Tell me if you know where that reference is from. Quit knocking speed. Ever heard of Motorhead? Cool. Oh, we got a metal discussion here. We'll read that after. That's pretty cool. I feel like we were worried about Scottie's mental health. We should get him to lay off the speed. Can Dennis keep up with Scottie in the speed scene? Indy has 3 first-round picks for the next draft. Reed Shepard, agreed, shooter. It's time to build around Jakob. You can pencil Harrison Barnes in for 6 of something. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo. Any player that shows Rudy Gobert is okay. Kyle Anderson's like my 7th favorite player to watch in the NBA. Really love the footwork and the slow, fast stuff. Kermes Curry, bro, a couple behind you is waving at you. Yep, there's a lot of people here excited for the post-game show. Thierry Fontaine, look at the field goal discrepancy. Yeah, the Raptors had 3 offensive rebounds in this game. Again, 3 offensive. I need to check. Let me double check that again. The Hawks had 16 offensive rebounds. The Raptors had 3 offensive rebounds. So the Raptors shot 40 of 77. The Hawks shot 52 of 101. So they had 101 to 77 shots. And Hawks only took 6 free throws. Raptors took 25. So that's kind of wild. I mean, I don't know how else you can really put it. Like, this team is not it, but I stay pretty, I know Will gets very excited. He was so excited last game when they won. He was so excited. I made a little Jerry Seinfeld meme kind of about him on Twitter, but yeah, he was so excited. And then when they lose, it's very grim. So I'm looking forward to that, consuming that in a bit. But yeah, I think, for me, I just, it doesn't really, I'm not emotionally attached to it. I just kind of like to watch it and laugh at it at times. Did you guys think at any point that they were going to win this game? I got to also respect to DeAndre Hunter for having no drip and being in the NBA. It's like kind of the Jared Allen thing. I actually kind of respect it when it's just like a Mark's Work Warehouse hoodie, and it's like, I don't know, there's just something cool about that, I guess. I mean, you got Darko experimenting with the lineups. He's trying to do stuff. Sometimes I wonder if like Nick ever. I think I would be the type of person who would do this because I'm kind of weird like that. But like once in a while, I'm not saying watch every Raptor game, but if Nick is watching any of the Raptor games, just kind of tuning in, maybe smoking a fat blunt with him and his friends from Northern Iowa. Like Joe Eastcamp's dad or whatever, and just being like, just feeling vindicated, blowing big bubbles, maybe hitting a volcano like in the bathtub and just getting wrecked and laughing at, I think people criticized, what he did, but schematically, And he would have not, I think there would have been a much different game plan against Trae. Like there would have been much more sending to, getting him higher up, maybe more pressing, different zone coverages. But the Raptors, I think they're like 24th in defensive. Somebody tell me what their defense is, but it's like 24th or something. It's like, it's horrible. And I mean, part of that is systems. Like part of that is players, but part of that is systems as well. And like you saw tonight, the perimeter defense was like I could have hit shots with that. Like that's how open it was. It's just Trae Young wide open, Bogdanovich wide open. Not seeing a lot of in-game defensive adjustments from Mr. Rajakovic. Game to game, he'll change it up. Like, okay, we'll not put this guy on this guy, or basic lineup stuff he'll change. But in game, when Trae's getting, I think he had like 20 points in the third quarter or something, just cooking in the third quarter, and just seeing the same coverages every time. And whenever NBA players go on podcasts or get asked about like what are some of the harder things to navigate in the NBA, and it's usually when the defensive coverages come at you in a bunch of different ways and you don't really know what to expect, and you have to, there's already, like if you're a point guard, if you're Trae, for example, there's already so much processing you have to do, even in a basic like pick and roll offense. Like there's tons of scanning, decision making, micro decision making. But then if you add on top of that, oh, we're in a 2-3, now we're maybe in a box and one, and now we're going to send two, and now we're going to, you're not going to send three, but now we're going to send two really high, and now we're going to, and if that is constantly changing, that is going to bug the point guard who's trying to kind of get into a flow. Like when you're a point guard, the best feeling is being in that flow where every time down the court you are not doing the same thing, but it's like this sequence that just kind of builds and builds and builds. It's almost like how you have moves and counter moves. It's like you just get into this flow, like a pitcher almost. And when the coverages are the same every single time, it's so much easier to get into that flow and then to make those little decisions. And you can really see that tonight. But last game, they were sending to really high up, and that actually led to some turnover. So I don't know why that was so abandoned. And then again, you've got like Dennis essentially playing drop against Trae in the perimeter, going way under the Okongwu screen to where the point where he's like in the paint, and Trae's got 12 feet of space in front of him to do the thing that, like, the reason you put up with all the Trae stuff is because he can hit that shot. That's kind of, I mean, yeah, he's, good passer in the pick and roll as well, but like that's really his bread and butter, is that deep three. And what did he shoot tonight from there? Trae Young, 7 for 15 from three. 7 for 15. My math isn't good, but I know that's over half. Is that 54% or something? And of those 15, I'm going to say like 9 were like pretty open, and 4 or 5 were just like comically open, to the point of where, like, you see him in the pregame shoot around, like he's joking around, he's having fun. Like he is kind of, he plays the game with that type of, he has a bit of that, well, he has a lot of that kind of fuck you energy, but he also plays, like, you can tell he really likes basketball. Like you can tell by watching. I mean, there's all those stories of him where he was like 4'1" and he would show up to the gym and they'd be like, hey, sorry buddy, we don't really want you here. And he would just really kind of like tough it out and break the rules and all that kind of shit. Like, I think actually break the rules, like going to gyms where he wasn't even invited to, and just be like, no, I'm going to play. And like, there's kind of like, stories out there like that. And you could tell he really, loves, because not every player, you really kind of exudes that type of joy. And it's pretty obvious, like, yeah, he likes the lob passes, but it's pretty obvious that the thing that really gets him going are those deep threes. And if you take that away from him, his game is just so much more limited, but they just weren't like Malachi and Dennis, both of them, and the team in general, but Malachi and Dennis just not at all. That's 2 games in a row with Malachi just being very casual with Trae on defense. I don't know. Are they listening? Are they on like Raptors Twitter or something? And they're seeing all the Trae Young jokes, and they're like, "Oh, we don't really need to guard him. He's just gonna go 7 for 15 for 3." That's 21 points, by the way, which is how many points the Raptors lost by tonight. So that's fun. Bogdanovich 3 for 7, but I felt like he was more impactful than that. Like he had 20 points. He was a plus 21. Really felt like when he came into the game, I think the Raptors were even up for the first shift. And it was when Bogdanovich checked in and he made a couple of quick shots. They went up by 6 or 7, I think. And then just for the whole game after that, it just felt like they were not coming back. Like it was pretty far out of reach. And, talking about, it's interesting that he was never in those trade packages. I mean, talk about a good player to match with Scottie. That's a really good archetype. That's I'm not saying similar to Buddy Hield, but in that high volume 3-point shooter, can run. Not going to be great on defense, but someone like that he has a really cool way of shooting too, where there's no dip on the ball. So I think him and Scottie would make some pretty nice highlights. I never understood why the Kings just let him go. This was back when I was a Kings. This was one of the things that I'm an ex-Kings fan. Being from Vancouver, there's a bit of a, not really, but in my head there's, when the Grizzlies and Sonics get taken away from you, you kind of grasp at straws, but kind of a kinship with the Kings fans. And I never understood why I think he walked for nothing. Like they just let him go for nothing. I never really understood that. But yeah, he would be amazing on the Raptors. Again, he's the type of player who when you did the Gary trade, kind of hoped would blossom into, the type of guy that can hit the 3, can put it on the floor a little bit, can into the mid range. Not going to tear it up at the rim necessarily like a Norman Powell, but going to get lots of spacing and shot creation, creativity. But and Gary just continues to look like has he been in a single skirmish this year? Like I don't think he has been. And not saying that that's like the be all end all and you should just go out there and get into skirmishes every quarter, but it seemed like that was such a big part of his personality and his game, and that's just completely gone. And if that's because he's on the bench, like I'm sorry, but unless you're going to go to like Washington or the Pit, like great for the Pistons, like you're not, when you're shooting like 34 34% from 3, not an impactful defender, don't have great size, you get an assist every 24 minutes, like I don't know, so if it is like he's not happy with his role, which it kind of looks like it is just from the outside, just being a official MSNBC body language paid expert or whatever. It looks, he just does not look like he's enjoying himself. And I would say the team is becoming more and more like that. Had a whole discussion, I guess 2 games ago, about the whole vibes conversation and how I think it's all pretty fucking stupid. And the way you create good vibes is by winning, not by putting up a fucking like synergy poster. Corporate. It's just corporate. It's just like, for me, it's just like human resource bullshit. The way you create vibes and culture is by winning. Very few teams that are winning a bunch. Like, do you think Minnesota right now? Do you think Boston right now? Like they're struggling to find things to vibe out about. It's like, no, it when you're competitive like this, when you're wired, when you've been winning your entire, like again, I talked about this before, but this is probably the worst situation Scottie has ever been in, relative to like where he is. You know what I mean? Like when he was at Montverde, he was playing with Cade, and there was somebody else there too. I keep forgetting. There was another like really touted draft pick in that class, but they were killing it. You know, Florida State. I can't really remember what they did in Florida State. I mean, he was coming off the bench. That's not ideal. But then his first year with the Raptors, he's the rookie of the year. They make the playoffs. It's all exciting. Last year, they're a 500 team. Again, they're not really a 500 team now. What are they now? Like 9? Do they hit 9 wins or 10 wins in like 15? That's flirting with 400 win, I think. 380 win team. I don't think you can. I think the whole 500 win thing, I think we might need to Old Yeller that at this point. And again, he's really trying, like not even just scoring and getting assists and playing defense, but he's really trying to like elevate people around him, like Chris Boucher. Like that's the thumbnail. It's like going up to Chris Boucher and just like really getting him, like trying to really pump him up, getting him great passes where he just bricks it. Chris Boucher going, what was Chris Boucher, 1 for 18 from the free throw line tonight? Chris Boucher 2 for 5. I think he was 1 for 5. I don't know, 2 for 5 from the free throw line, 40%. He needs help. You know, Draymond's a grown man. He's much older, and he's like older than me, I think, even. And he, you know, is getting all this outcry for help, and I think we need that same energy. I need random NBA podcasts to start saying, you know, Scottie Barnes needs help. Like, he needs better people around him. He needs reinforcements. He needs shooters. He needs people that can run. He needs people that he can feed in transition. He needs people that can hit transition threes. He needs people that can hit corner threes. Like, and it's not that, again, he's not that all that he's selfish at all in any way. It's like the opposite. But it's like in a lot of these games down the stretch, like it really kind of feels like it's him. Like, it's one thing to carry a team, but it's like he's the only guy that has like life on the team, especially like later in the games. And it's like, how are the rest of you fucking guys not bringing it like this? A lot of you are in contract years. Gary, you're in a contract year, and this is what you're doing. Again, I don't know if the numbers were that horrible for Gary tonight. You know, 3 for 8 points in 20 minutes, minus 11. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's 3 offensive rebounds is sad. It is, you know, and Jakob got 2 of them, so that means like what? So Precious. So let's chew on that for a little bit. Precious, 17 minutes, 0 offensive rebounds. Pretty tall guy, you know, around the rim quite a bit. Pascal Siakam, 34 minutes, 0 offensive rebounds. Pretty tall guy, around the basket quite a bit. OG Anunoby, 33 minutes, 0 offensive rebounds. Kind of a tall guy, around the basket. I mean, even Scottie with 1, like that's not ideal either. So, just team wide. They don't box out. Precious is probably the most egregious one in my opinion on this. Like, for the role that he's supposed to be, for the player that he's supposed to be. When he's on the court, he's their tallest guy. and he's super athletic, super quick. How do you have no offensive rebounds? And when I remember when I did the Boston game, when he took the crazy corner three where Dennis was standing there, he had 0 offensive rebounds in 21 minutes in that game. He was, out on the perimeter a lot more. But in this game, he was more like around the rim and around the basket. I guess those are the same things. And to get no offensive rebounds in 17 minutes of play, when that's your archetype of the player that you. I mean, there's that Open Gym episode of him saying you were playing the point guard. I don't know about that. But if you're not getting offensive rebounds, you're tanking your value in a contract year. Like that, like offensive rebounds are incredibly important. And it's weird to me that they're not prioritized as much as say I don't think they like, and you can just kind of see by the way teams box out. It's not only a Raptors thing. It's just like in general, like last year when the Raptors, they led the NBA in offensive rebounds with Nick, like it seemed like this kind of like offensive rebounding seemed like a unique kind of, oh, wow, they're trying offensive rebounding. How innovative. And I guess I don't know if it's more of a generational thing, but like back in my day, if you didn't box people out, like that was the quickest way to get benched. Like that was worse than missing shots because it's an effort thing. Like it's just anybody can box out. And if you have 3 offensive rebounds in a game, like if you think about how many minutes, like how many shots did the Raptors take tonight? Was it 70? Raptors took 77 shots tonight. So they got 3 offensive rebounds on 77 shots. So that's an offensive rebound every, 25 shots about? I think that's insane. Think about that. Think 25 shots go up and you get 1 offensive rebound. Especially on a team that does not shoot well. 30th ranked in offense, whatever they are at free throw line, probably 30 or 30th in 3-point percentage, probably 30th at their free throw line. To be picking up an offensive rebound every 25 shots, and you combine the minutes all these guys are playing, like if you combine Precious, OG, and Pascal, 34, 33, and 17, what is that, like 80-ish minutes? Combine their height, that's over 20 feet of height. If you stacked all those guys together, it's like, I think that's like 20 feet of height over however many minutes. It's like 80 minutes or something. To get not 1 offensive rebound, like, are you serious? Brutal. That's 3 offensive rebounds. That's got to be a season low. I can't imagine another team. Somebody look that up. Producer. One of my producers in the chat. Can we look up if a team has had 3 or less offensive rebounds in a game this year? I think, what does Andre Drummond average, like 5 offensive rebounds a game or something? Yeah, let me know if a team this season has had 3 or less offensive rebounds in a game. That's so crazy. I mean, I know they're starting a Kongwu and Capella, so they're starting 2 centers, but that's crazy. Shout out to the Pistons and Spurs. Did the Pistons play tonight? Oh, fuck, did I miss the Pistons game? I love watching the Pistons. It's like watching The Room. I've said that before. Just checking if the Pistons played. The Pistons played and they lost. So 22 in a row? They lost to the Sixers, 124-92. The streak is... Oh, the Spurs won? Oh, man. Who did the Spurs beat? That's crazy. When did this happen? The San Antonio Spurs beat the Lakers today? 129-115. Are you fucking kidding me? Devin Vassell, 36 ball. Okay. Well, I was never into the Spurs one because the Pistons... I would have been, but the Pistons were better, you know. Pistons, is that 22? 22 in a row. That's great. How did the Lakers? What were the Lakers doing in this game? Jackson Hayes 8 points. Max Christie 2 points. No Anthony Davis. That's not good. That's embarrassing. You lose, or you win the in-season tournament, and then you lose to the you end the Spurs. Because what were I think the Spurs were on. Was it 18 or 19? I think. To have two of those going at the same time is amazing. I'm really happy for the Pistons though. What did they? What did the? Who showed up for the? Shouts to Nick and the boys. You got Asar Thompson 8 points, Isaiah Stewart 4 points, Cade Cunningham 4 points. Jesus, what are we doing? Cade Cunningham 4 points in 24 minutes. 4 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Killian Hayes 5 points. James Wiseman put up a 20-piece in 25 minutes. Fuck, I missed. I can't believe I missed that game. You got James Wiseman putting up 20 and Cade putting up 4. God, I wish I would have seen that. Damn it. Sixers, Embiid 35. That's going to happen once in a while, you know. Fade for Cade, baby. Yeah, I mean, there needs to be like a version of Kendrick Perkins that's like a joke. I mean, he kind of is in a lot of ways, but we need like an even joke. We like, he's just on the brink of like, he makes salient points, but we need like a version of that that's just a complete bit. And they come in and are like, is Killian Hayes a better player than Cade Cunningham? Because in the games that I've watched, which actually I've probably watched more Pistons games than maybe any other team other than the Raptors, just because of this epic streak, Killian Hayes has looked better than Cade in a lot of the games. Like quicker decisions, better passing, more flow. I think Cade leads the NBA in turnovers. And I remember like my first red flag with Cade. This is somebody nobody talks about. So write this down, because I don't remember what the interview was, but he said that he wanted to model his game after Chris Middleton. So there's all this like, oh, he's Luka, or oh, he's Halliburton. He's looking at Chris Middleton and being like, that's the ticket, baby. Where I think Scottie's more like, I want to be Giannis with the 3 ball. a little bit different. Shy Starboy says Spurs won, Pistons real, are alone now. Yeah, man. And I think with the Raptors, they play the Pistons. It would be game 29, which would be the longest losing streak of all time, I'm pretty sure, in the NBA. I don't know if that includes like the ABA as well. But that was across different seasons. I think the single game season is 26, but they could beat both records. It would be hilarious if it is the Raptors, though, that their first W. Honestly, another hot take for people. If the Raptors give the Pistons the W and end the streak, the Raptors should get a pizza party for that. Which, by the way, I know I've talked about this a lot. People have talked about it. The pizza party thing is the funniest part of the season so far for me. Again, it's just such an insane thing for a coach to leak to the media, even as like a joke. Like you know, if it's 10 games, 20 games would probably be like obviously a joke, but you put it out there for 10 games, it's like, that's not even going to be a story. If it's like, yeah, if they win 10 games, they'll take them, whatever. Be like, haha, yeah, cool, 10. Like, probably if your team's winning 10 games, you're going to take them out anyway. You're going to do something nice for them probably anyways. Maybe you're going to go to a $400 steak restaurant. Now you're going to go to a $700 steak restaurant or whatever. That's totally normal. Wouldn't even be a talking point. Would have just been, but for 3 games. And like, if you go a whole season without winning 10 games in a row, like, I don't think anybody's going to, I mean, unless you're like a contender, like 10-game winning streak is tough. It's not super common. Like, if you can have a good season and not have a 10-game winning streak, but 3. And of course, what makes it such a great story that I don't think he realized, or probably honestly didn't give a fuck. If you're like an NBA coach, you probably don't give a fuck with any of this shit, but whatever, it's fun to joke about. The longer it goes on, the funnier it is. Like, if this is still going on in May, like, I hope people are still bringing it up and talking about it. Like, I want this, if it extends to next season, which kind of looks like it could be a possibility. I just hope, like, as a community, if you have an Raptors podcast or Twitter account or something, I just keep the energy, keep the pizza party energy going, because it's just such a funny story. How embarrassing for the players though, but who cares? They're adults. Fred left because they weren't doing pizza parties. Big blunder. Siakam leaked a pizza party. Is that true? A pizza party that Raptor Moments gets to film, says just a nobody. Again, I said this before, but I want an entire 13-minute open gym episode about the pizza party. No B story, no Rodney Hood B story bullshit. I want an in-depth open gym pizza party episode. I want to know what pizza Malachi's having. I want to know what pizza Garrett Temple's having. I want to know if, again, my favorite open gym moment of all time is Scottie cutting the steak. It's just, I've never seen anybody cut a steak like that before in my life. I want to see if anybody's cutting the pizza like with their fork and their knife. I want to know if anybody ordered extra toppings, what kind of sodas they're having. Are they dipping? Are they breadsticks? Like, I want to know. I want the whole open gym to be like you remember when Trump got the burger party, and it's like it was like a Stanley Kubrick film where he's just posed there with like 700 burgers, all perfectly placed, identically, geometrically beautifully. I want production value. I want it to be. I want like a James Earl Wong, director of photography, level of care put into the layout and the look and the presentation of the party. Open gym, if you're listening. Go, by the way, if you're looking for a good James Earl Wong movie, go watch The Sweet Smell of Success from 1957. Probably my 4th favorite movie of all time. That's the level of cinematography I want from the open gym episode. Like opening, they got the establishing shot of Manhattan, the newspaper and the jazz music. It's black and white. The guy selling newspaper. Bunch of people bustling around. I want that level of detail. What pizza place will they get their pizza from? Good question from Jason. I don't really know Toronto that well. What do you guys think from the chat? What are some good pizza places that that they could order from? Because hopefully it's not going to be like a 7-Eleven pizza or something. Is there 7-Eleven in Toronto? Vivek says trade Masai and Bobby. Sometimes I wonder. So Doc Rivers got traded. Was it to the Clippers or from the Clippers? He either got traded. Doc Rivers either got traded to or from Boston Clippers. There was a Doc Rivers trade between those two teams. I think he got traded to the Clippers. So I'm wondering, you got Chris Finch, Coach of the Year candidate Chris Finch in Minnesota, former Raptor assistant. You've got Nick, obviously, in Philadelphia, former head coach. You've got Adrian Griffin, Milwaukee, former assistant coach. I don't know where Nate Bjorkgren is. How is there no like second round picks for any of that? That just seems like that's really the only, like, the Nick Nurse coaching tree is the only Raptors like development, like in-house development has been the Nick Nurse coaching tree, and they've gotten nothing from it. And now there's like half the league is former Nick Nurse people, and the Raptors don't have as much as a second round pick. Timber says Toronto pizza is slacking. Lyle Ugman, he got traded to the Clippers for a first round pick. Yeah, exactly. So if they knew Nick was going to leave, like, couldn't they have done a sign and trade or something? How is there no way to finagle some draft compensation from all these coaches? That's Masai, Bobby, if you're listening. What are we doing? I think that's pretty much wrapping up, though. If you just tuned in, I did go over the Keegan Murray, Buddy Hield rumors and stuff. I think, today's December 15th, so I think, it's a big day for transactions and such. So going to start seeing a lot more rumors. The NBA podcast landscape, the low posts and the Bill Simmons and whatever, is going to be a microscope on the Toronto Raptors in terms of trades, which people are probably sick of, but it's getting to that point where even I have to acknowledge it and talk about it because of games like this where they're just never in this game. Were they ever leading in this game after like the first few minutes? I don't think so. And then they lose by 21, and like 3 offensive rebounds, no matter what scheme you're playing. And they're not even playing 4 out either. That's like, they're not playing a 4 out offense. Like, they're not playing a Memphis offense or a motion offense. Or no, they are playing a motion offense. What's the other one? Motion and what's the other word for Memphis? I'm really tired. You just call it a 4 out. But if you're not getting any offensive rebounds, then in that type of offense where you're just bombing threes from the perimeter, that would make sense. But with the way the Raptors are playing offense, where you've got your 4 and your 5 most of the time, and maybe not in the paint, but like within the vicinity of the rim, to have 3 offensive rebounds is just on 77 shots. It's once every 25 shots. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Pale Fox says Masai does not sign and trade based on religious beliefs. They did it with Lowry. That's why you got the shifty footworked Precious Achua, who did have some nice footwork in this game. I will say that. Just to nobody, what was the total rebound disparity? It was 55 for Atlanta, 32 for Toronto. And Atlanta had 16 offensive rebounds. Raptors had 3. So Sadiq Bey with 3 rebounds. Sadiq Bey with 3 offensive rebounds had the same amount of rebounds as the Toronto Raptors. Okongwu had more offensive rebounds than the Toronto Raptors, and Clint Capella had more offensive rebounds than the Toronto Raptors. So, yeah. Generally, when the other team gets Atlanta 101 shots, Raptors 77 shots, both shot 52% from both identical percentages. Raptors 51.9, Hawks 51.5. So you shoot basically the same from the field. The Raptors free throw is 25-6 outnumbered, but they went 56%. So it's almost the same free. Like, the free throw disparity doesn't really hit because they only went 56% from the line. So not even a huge advantage with that. But yeah, when you and the other team, here's some math for you folks. If you and the other team shoot the exact same percentage and the other team gets 22 more shots, 23, 24 more shots. No, I can't do math. Yeah, 23, I don't know. Set whatever the difference between 101 and 77 is, 24, right? When they get 24 more shots than you, that's probably not going to work out. Siakam said there would be a reward from coach for winning 3 games. Media followed up after with Darko. Good follow-up, make sure you confirm it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to go do some Christmassy things here in the village, here in this Christmas village. Going to get some hot cocoa. Be watch some Seinfeld. Yep. Toronto Raptors lose.